Welcome Silver Creek School Corporation regularly scheduled board meeting today, Tuesday, January 11th. Call the meeting to order at 6:34. If we could please rise, Mr. Basham is going to lead us in our pledge, following by the invocation by Mr. Ballmer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening that we can gather together and make very important decisions for our school corporations. We want to give thanks and gratitude for all the wonderful blessings you've given our corporation, the families, our teachers, our students, and all the wonderful staff that work very hard and diligently every day to make a difference in our community and our students. We ask that you'll continue to watch over us and keep us safe and be with those families and those loved ones who may have fallen ill. And we just pray for peace and comfort and overall just health for them as they work through this time. We ask that you'll be with our board tonight and just help us all to make decisions that are best for our students. Thank you for all that you've given us. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, roll call. Ms. Franklin.
Present.
Mr. Basham.
Here.
Ms. Overberg.
Here.
Mr. Groen.
Present.
And I am here. We have quorum. All right, being our first meeting of the year, we've got some housekeeping stuff to take care of real quick. First is the election of the school board officers. Do we have a motion for a president?
I'd like to nominate Chris Roundtree.
All right, we have Chris Roundtree as a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Do we have anyone else? Hearing none, all of those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have the role of vice president. Do we have a motion for a vice president?
I'd like to nominate Scott Groen.
All right, we have a motion for, or we have a nomination of Scott Groen. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any other nominations for vice president? Hearing none, all of those in favor of Mr. Groen as vice president, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. We have a nomination for a secretary.
I'll make the motion to nominate Rachel Overberg.
We have a motion for Rachel Overberg, Ms. Overberg as secretary. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. We have any other nominations for the office of secretary? Hearing none, all of those in favor of Ms. Overberg as secretary, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3 of the school board meeting, the consideration of approval for the resolution of board member compensation, which sets at $2,000 per year, $112 per regularly scheduled meeting, and $62 for any special meeting, work session, or emergency meeting. Do we have a motion to approve that resolution?
Also moved.
Mr. Basham makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Under number 4, we have the consideration to reappoint Jonathan Mays from Bose McKinney as our school attorney. We have a motion for that.
I so move.
Ms. Overberg makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion?
Just
Here-
say I think Jonathan's done a good job for us and like to continue that relationship.
Yep. I agree.
Any others? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Consideration to appoint corporate treasurer Todd Ballmer, deputy treasurer Becky Arnold. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Franklin makes the motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Ms. Overberg seconds. Any discussion? All of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 6. Do we vote on that because there's no motion second and all that for number 6? Or is that just naming?
No, we just need to state for the record.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's no vote on that.
So with the approval of the corporation treasurer, deputy treasurer, the establishment of bonds will be set forth as followed. For school corporation treasurer, a bond of $50,000, deputy treasurer, $50,000, accounts payable specialist, $50,000, each school principal and extracurricular treasurer in the amount of $5,000. In your board packet, you under number 7, you have the board meeting schedule. We have a motion to approve the board meeting schedule for 2022.
Before we vote on that, I'd like us to move the March 15th to the 16th, please.
Is there,
That would move it from a Tuesday to a Wednesday night. I've got another conflict that night.
I have a conflict on the 16th.
I do too. I have a conflict on the 16th.
Is the Monday open for
What
you?
about Monday, the 14th? That's our
Fine.
first meeting, Chad, so it's not necessarily too impactful for finance.
I think that works for us.
The 14th.
I'm fine with that.
For-
Well, the good thing is, well, March, we only have one.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. So the schedule that you have, keeping it the same with the exception of moving the March 15th meeting to the March 14th meeting, do we have a motion to approve the 2022 board meeting schedule?
Also moved.
Mr. Basham makes a motion. We have a second.
I second.
Ms. Overberg seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? 8, conflict of interest forms. We just have one.
Do we have just the one?
All right. So for board member conflict of interest forms, I am the only board member that has filled that form out. It is on file, and I think it'll go to Mr. Mays. Is that correct? And then be put on our website.
I'm not sure. What do we do with the conflict of interest form, Jonathan? I think typically we just file them, but we'll let him decide.
That gets filed with the clerk here in Clark County and the State Board of Accounts.
Okay.
I could keep a copy as well for my records.
Is it supposed to go on our school website or anything, or just in our files?
No, it'll be in the board minutes as well. So it'll be in those.
I think
in those files.
2021's is on the website, if I'm not mistaken, but
Yeah.
I could be
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah, you
believe
can
it
post
is.
them on the website as well if you like. They are subject to public records requests, so they're public documents anyways.
I have a couple questions if we're open to discussion on it. If we
Yeah, but there's no vote here, so it's just to let everybody
So
know.
just a couple questions, because we've consulted with you before, but can those be turned in at any time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so,
Typically, they're done at the start with the organizational day for those that have maybe standing conflicts or, anticipated with family members being employees if they're raises.
so at any point in time, if a family member of ours
Right.
becomes employed, we would need to fill that out?
Right.
I will need to fill. I'll need to fill this out. The company I work for currently has a contract within the school corporation, so I'll need to fill this out.
Yeah. You'll want to, and before you take any action on those items, certainly,
Okay.
if those arise throughout the
And
year.
I know I've reached out to you before with regards to our work with the foundation and things like that. So I understand this correctly. Anytime that you may be receiving money from the corporation, that's when the conflict is there. And so that is what, or if you have a family member employed or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Where you could directly or indirectly financially benefit from decisions that you're making as a school board member.
Okay. As by family member, do you mean anybody that you have a close contact with, or would that be like, somebody that would maybe you legally tied to, or a parent, or?
Yeah,
like-
typically it's someone you're legally tied to, or someone that's biologically in your family. For the legal interpretation, of course, most interpret it more broadly for purposes of optics and just best practices.
If we have specific questions, we can
Sure.
consult with you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mays. And just to be transparent, the reason I signed the conflict of interest form is I have a ownership interest in a company that is a supplier to the corporation. So, at this time, Dr. Briggs, do you have any emergency additions, revisions to the agenda?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. So recommendations on emergency additions and revisions under consent agenda. Personnel, classified positions. Number one, classified appointments. We have the following letters A through D. Letter A, Cammie Pennington, Silver Creek High School Special Education Instructional Assistant, posting number 0102, effective January 12th, 2022. Letter B, we have Adea Lydon, and that should be Lydon, not Lyson. Our district translator, posting number 0134, effective January 12th, 2022. 1C, Christina Bruner, and again, that should be Christina Bruner. Silver Creek Elementary School cafeteria, posting 0128, effective January 18th, 2022. And letter 1D, Amanda Napier, Central Office Grants and Compliance Specialist, posting number 0133, effective January 17th, 2022. Also under consent agenda, letter A, personnel. Number 2, classified resignations. Letter A, Allison Pop, Director of Health Services, effective January 31st, 2021. Actually, I think that might be December 31st, 2021. So let's go 2A, Allison Pop, Director of Health Services, effective December 31st, 2021. And 2B, Lynette Caldwell, Silver Creek High School, Treasurer, resignation, effective January 21st, 2022. Moving down under consent agenda, letter A, personnel. Number 3, leaves and retirements. Number 1, Cheryl Bennett, Silver Creek High School, FMLA, effective January 31st, 2022. And that is it for emergency additions and revisions. Thank you.
You've heard Dr. Briggs' request for emergency additions and revisions. We have a motion to approve.
I so move.
Ms. Overberg makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Have any discussion or comments? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of minutes from December 20th of 2021, regular scheduled board meeting. Those minutes were in your, actually the revision was sent in your email. We have a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Groen makes the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the approval of minutes from the December 20th, 2021 work session. We had a work session on the same night as a board meeting?
Yep.
I believe we did on the.
Oh,
In here
you're right.
beforehand.
Absolutely, we did, right in here. Do we have approval for those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Groen makes the motion. We have a second.
I second.
Ms. Overberg seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Dr. Briggs, student and staff recognition.
Yes, good evening again, everyone. Thanks to the board for your revised agenda template from what we've used in the past. Just a little informational thing first. You'll notice at the end of tonight's agenda for our audience, we will still have our typical comments, reports, and announcements from the schools. We have moved those to the end of our agenda, and typically moving forward will be shared by the building principals who are here. For number 11 tonight, student staff recognition, we will use this agenda item moving forward. If we ever have a guest who is a student or a staff member who wants to present to the board, or just anyone we want to recognize. What I'd like to do here this evening is I would like to recognize all of our staff and all of our students. I don't want to underestimate it by saying just our staff and our students, because right now we're still in the middle of this pandemic. Things have not gotten any easier, just the opposite. But our staff comes to school every day. Our parents prepare their children every day to come to school. And right now we're in school, and I appreciate the efforts from our employees, our students, and our families. And I think it's an understatement when we say that they are doing an amazing job at keeping our doors open. So anyone here this evening, anyone here that's online listening to me, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate everything that everybody's doing. Thank you.
Ms. Hawkins, do you have any curriculum or student services updates?
I want to start tonight on our spotlights by recognizing Jill Gerlach. Jill is she's a counselor at our middle school, and she has also served as our McKinney-Vento liaison for several years. Jill has helped many families during her time in this position, and she is super knowledgeable. In fact, she is a well-known resource, not only within the Silver Creek District, but also in the state. So although Jill has stepped away recently from this particular position, she continues to help our families and our staff here until we're able to get a posting up and move forward with fulfilling that position. So tonight, I just want to spotlight her and thank her for all of the work that she's done. She's really set the bar high for this particular position in our district. So thank you, Jill. At all of these meetings, I almost always have to recognize our health team members because we are in the middle of a pandemic. And to kind of piggyback off of what Dr. Briggs talked about, they just continue to be rock stars for us in addition to our teachers and staff and administrators. And believe me, every health team member is doing great things in all of their buildings. They're all going above and beyond, always double checking and making sure that contact tracing is done right before they make those dreaded phone calls. They don't like to make them either to the parents, believe me. We appreciate each one of them greatly, but since we have returned from break, of course, the rules have changed again. And so I wanted to recognize two members of our team specifically for some of their most recent work, and that is Casey Howe and Sherry Stouffer. Starting with Casey, excuse me. Casey is a health team member at Silver Creek Primary, and she recently put together a document on her own that was a tremendous help. This document was very easy to follow, and I say that from a non-medical standpoint. I could follow this particular document and understand exactly what the changes and things were with the new guidelines that just came out. So really appreciate Casey, her professionalism, her honesty, and how she goes above and beyond to intentionally set all of the students at Silver Creek Primary and the entire district up for success. So want to recognize Casey. And then Sherry Stouffer, since our Director of Health Services took another position, Sherry Stouffer, the school nurse at Silver Creek Elementary, she has stepped up to be our health team point person until we were able to get a new director in place. Sherry has made herself available to help answer parent questions that are not able to be answered at the building level. And she also served as the health team designee during our recent interviews for our new health director. So Sherry is always very level-headed and professional and always has the best intentions for students, staff, and parents at heart. So thank you to Sherry for her hard work as well. In the area of educational excellence, I want to recognize some recent PD that we've had going on in the district. Some people may think, oh, we just came back from winter break. You know, we're just barely getting back into the swing of things. Nope, we hit the ground running. When we had some IXL PD on the first day back, and this was provided to teachers in grades 4 through 12, and then some in the lower grades as well. This PD will help our teachers to be able to connect results from each round of our NWEA assessments and connect that with individualized learning for students. So the goal with this is to provide students with another opportunity to celebrate growth between assessment sessions and be able to close individual gaps or accelerate learning. We also just recently had our e-learning days last week on January 6th and 7th. And although I know we all prefer to have students in school, it does seem like that e-learning went fairly well, given our recent weather situation. Building administrators did a nice job of communicating with parents. We were sort of in that situation where some devices didn't go home. So there was an extra piece there that the administrators had to help with. They were there to communicate with parents on questions, provide training videos on how to access some sites from home on separate devices, helped parents to obtain devices here at school if they needed to. Usernames, passwords, you name it, they were able to help with that. Teachers followed the routines, utilized the instructional rubrics, posted information in Schoology so that everybody was looking for things in the same location, and connected with students through the Google Meets. So we just really appreciate, like Dr. Briggs said, our students, parents, teachers, administrators, and all of their continued efforts. It's not our favorite type of instruction, but it is instruction that we've had to adjust to. And so just appreciate everyone's efforts with that. Let's see, some other PD that we had on Monday, December 7th. We had Sarah Kiefer, who is the Deaf Education Coordinator for the Indiana Department of Health. She presented an in-service to the Silver Creek High School teachers on educating students with hearing loss. So that was a very informative PD for us to be able to offer to our teachers there. On January 18th, we'll be having a high ability professional development that will be from 3:30 to 5:30 with a consultant, Mrs. Abby Kaufman. So we're encouraging our teachers to be able to if they're servicing high ability students, to come to that professional development. And then we're having a PD on Tuesday, February 1st on NWEA with our administrators. So it doesn't really stop in terms of whether it's January or whether it's October or mid-year or testing. We're always very busy with things. Last thing that I just want to make an announcement on is regarding our immunizations. And I've mentioned this at the last several meetings about kind of where the health team was with their process in this. And they have continued to work very hard through the first semester, keeping up with our immunizations and sending out notices through Infinite Campus, email, making phone calls. Some have even, I think, made field trips to houses. We just want to help parents that maybe need some help connecting to be able to get those immunizations for their children. So we've now reached the point where the final notices have now been sent to central office. And there will be a letter sent to anybody that's non-compliant at this point. We could be looking at suspensions or expulsions, and we do not want to do that. So we're just, again, making an outreach here at tonight's meeting that if you're someone that falls into that category, please reach out to your health team members. If you have an appointment scheduled, we don't want to exclude. We just want to make sure that we can do anything we can to help your child to become compliant with that. So that's all I have tonight. If you guys have any questions.
Thank you, Lisa.
Any questions for Ms. Hawkins before she takes off?
No, thank you so much.
No, thanks for sharing that with us. I'm really excited about the PD that you talked about. Those are some really great things. Really great opportunities for our teachers.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, Beth, do we have anybody signed up for community input? All right. We don't have anybody signed up, but at this time, if you would like to provide community input, you can come to the podium, state your name, and you'll be given 3 minutes to address. Right, we have none. Dr. Briggs, consent agenda?
Yes. Okay, consent agenda. Under personnel, classified positions, classified appointments, we have letters A through D. Under classified resignations, letters A and B. Under number 2 there, ECA, we have numbers 1 through 6. Under leaves and retirements, number 1. Under other, we have number 1 and then number 2. Under number 2, policies, we have letters A through Z and AA through J. This is the first reading of these policies. Just a couple notes for the board. Letter F the following are new policies. Letter F and letter G. Now, those are practices that we have implemented and approved previously, but this is an official approvement, I guess, through Neola, which is our consultant and resource for our board policies. Letter K is a new policy, the School Performance Internet Dashboard. The State Board of Ed and the Indiana Department of Ed, they are working and finalizing what those requirements will look like in terms of posting things to a dashboard that school corporations will be required to create. And then backing up to letter J, that is a policy that we have had on the books. But we have not used it and currently are not using it. And the recommendation is that if we're not using it and do not anticipate using it, we go ahead and delete it. So letter J, first reading here, although these other policies we're looking to revise or bring in new, letter J, the recommendation is to delete. And that is it for consent agenda. Thank you.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Franklin makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion?
Can you just, the last three, I looked at what you sent to us, but I'll be quite honest, I wasn't sure what the difference is.
On the last three policies? Yes. Those policies are pretty well identical. Numbers 4121, 1521, and 3121. 4121 pertains to classified staff. 1521 applies to administrative staff, and 3121 applies to professional or certified staff.
Gotcha.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Under discussion action item number 15, we have the approval of the superintendent's contract, which we had our public meeting about previously. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so move.
Ms. Overberg makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. Any discussion or comments?
I'd just like to say I really appreciate the work that Dr. Briggs has done. He's really made a point to do things right and to look over how we're doing things as a school corporation and tweak things that definitely needed to be tweaked. And I appreciate it's, I'm sure, been a lot of hours and hours of work and diving into tedious matters, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or comments?
No, thank you for not judging us for our flaws. We appreciate that. And thank you for finding all the items as you see here tonight that we need to be making adjustments on. It's really, really comforting knowing that you're taking your time and digging into how we can better improve Silver Creek School Corporation. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion or comments?
I think you've done a great job so far, and you deserve this contract. Thankful that you're here.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. 15B, discussion action item is the approval of the administrator contracts and the fringe benefits addendums that were presented at the last meeting. Do we have a motion for approval?
I so move.
Mr. Groen makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Basham seconds. Any discussion or comments? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Dr. Briggs, we have C, the school calendar. We've already approved the school calendar. Did you just want to share? Is that why it's on?
No,
C?
this is, you have not approved the 2022-2023 calendar.
Oh, okay.
And that's what
That was the
this is.
board meeting calendar that we did. This is the
That's
actual
correct.
school calendar. Okay. Sorry about that. You guys, in your board packet, you saw the recommendation of Dr. Briggs for the 2022-2023 school calendar. Did you want to mention any differences, or is it on the website? Well, it will be
You know,
on the
it
website.
will be on the website pending your approval this evening. I guess I can say a couple of things here. There's not a whole lot different. What we prioritized is following our Career Center Prosser, following their calendar. We have a lot of students that go there, and I'm not saying that it mirrors Prosser's calendar, but it's pretty close. But what is different from this school year, if approved, we will have a 2-week fall break in October, and everything else looks very similar. But that's the biggest difference. Is this year we had 1 week, and this calendar has 2.
All right, you've seen the calendar for 2022-2023 school year. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Ms. Franklin makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groen seconds. Any discussion or comments?
The only thing I'll say is I know that the calendar is always up for debate, and there's been some inconsistency, I guess, in what we followed. We were on this type of schedule before, which was the 2 weeks, and then we kind of went away from that, which created a little bit of a later start date, kind of a longer summer. But I think what's important to me kind of going forth is that we are consistent, and that we do line up with Prosser, and that year after year kind of going forward. We had talked about approving 2 years in a row. Is this approving 2 years in a row?
No, this is just one, and the only reason why I originally was prepared to bring 2, but Prosser and New Albany Floyd County, they've only approved next year, and so since we want to follow them, we don't want to go ahead and jump ahead in case they do change.
All right, I guess nobody's moved in a little
Do a
while.
little dance.
No more stints are here.
Going into energy save. Energy
I
save.
think that's good news for the calendar.
It might have been some higher power telling us that maybe we shouldn't vote on this. I don't know. Do we have a motion to approve the school calendar for 2022-2023 school year?
I so move.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am off.
Oh,
of
did
it
we already
tonight.
move on this?
Yeah, we've already motioned.
Okay.
Any other discussion or comments? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. This time, any comments by school board members or Dr. Briggs?
I just let the rest of the board know that Chris and I are signed up for a State House Day up at Indianapolis, February the 15th, where we'll be meeting with our state representatives and board presidents and legislative committee members from all 10 regions.
I'm also signed up for that.
You did? Okay.
There's a couple of big things right now going on in state legislature that is detrimental to our school corporation. There's a few of them out there, not just one or two, but there's a couple. But there's a couple of really big ones that come to mind, and we will go and we'll voice our concerns at that time.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I've been really busy today, so I didn't get this out there, but I did go today and testify at one of those, and but nothing has been decided on it yet, so.
All right.
Just tell you thank you for going. Advocacy is a big part of what we try to do. So all 3 of you, thank you for going, representing Silver Creek.
Any other board member comments? This time we'll recognize any of the administrators or directors in the building. I think Silver Creek High School is on the agenda. Let's see.
Yep. Dr. Eckert is not here tonight. We have actually senior night tonight for girls basketball.
Yes,
so,
I know.
Unfortunately, we're missing that, but he is there. So if Dr. Eckert was here, he would recognize the December Students of the Month for Silver Creek High School, where Aiden Saylor, 9th grade, Tessa Pfeiffer, 10th grade, Aiden Johnson, 11th grade, and Edgar Sandoval Heredia, 12th grade. These students were chosen by the principal on the basis of outstanding citizenship and were awarded $25 gift cards. So congratulations to those well-deserving students.
Any other administrators in here want to add anything? Mr. Troutman from the middle school.
On behalf of Ms. Nunn and myself, we also want to thank our students and staff for the work completed during e-learning. I know there was a lot of devices that didn't get home and things of that nature. And our staff and students worked really hard to get all their work turned in and on time and be present. Also wanted to recognize one of our sixth grade students, Silas Fleming, participated in the sixth grade national football tournament in Naples, Florida, over Christmas break. He represented Silver Creek for FBU football team Indiana. They were able to finish third in the national tournament. Silas had a great week and was able to be evaluated by some college scouts as well. So we just want to congratulate Silas on that. And we also wanted to recognize our Teachers of the Month for first semester. For August, we had Miss Lemaster, sixth grade English Language Arts. September was Mrs. Poor, seventh grade Math. October, Miss Kerber, sixth grade Science. Mr. Hendricks, eighth grade Social Studies. And Ms. Caldwell, choir handbells for the month of December. Over 300 students filled out a Google survey to nominate those teachers, which was an outstanding turnout for those nominations. The students read a small paragraph about each teacher over the intercom when we announce who the Teacher of the Month is. And we had to go back with the turnover and recognize all those months kind of all in a couple weeks. So we'll have monthly from here on out, but wanted to recognize those teachers. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other building administrator or director?
Hi, I have something exciting to tell you about with special ed, but first I wanted to thank you all for approving the raises for our classified staff, especially. I think I think we see quality applicants, but we're also retaining our quality employees. So it's great, and thank you for that. The other thing is we have a new program. It's a jobs program at the high school for students who have more significant disabilities, and it's called Progress. It stands for Providing Real Opportunities, Gaining Experiences, and Empowering Student Success. And it involves taking students out into the community. Right now, we're working on volunteer situations to give them experiences, to give them opportunities to figure out what it is they like, hopefully leading to a career. Right now, it's volunteering. I like to see this go into some work studies and some internships. And when they leave high school, they might have a job placement. So that's the goal of that. We have a real enthusiastic job coach, and right now the schedule is for the students. We have a couple students going out this week. So I'm excited about that program.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gregory.
All right, real quick, I would love to give a huge shout out to our operations crew. We depend on them in so many ways, especially now in the midst of the pandemic. There's a lot of extra pressure on them as well. It's been very difficult to find staff, but I especially want to recognize a few of our operation crew for the outstanding job they did. Duty called on Sunday. Luckily, there was some water that was noticed at the high school, and unfortunately, we did have a hot water pipe that ruptured one of our unit ventilators in a classroom. But that would have been much worse if that was not recognized, investigated quickly. But I want to recognize those individuals that in the middle of a Colts game on Sunday spent a lot of time and worked diligently to clean up the mess on Sunday. So Adam Farley and his crew, who is our director of facilities, Steve Dole, the operation manager there at the Silver Creek High School, Brian Stevenson, who came in, Shelley Spalding, and Jerry Dole. We had to quickly get a lot of the equipment, a lot of things out of that room to salvage everything as much as possible. Luckily, we called in our plumbing crew, who got everything turned off very quickly and got that shut down and repaired. So everything has been repaired. And right now, we've just asked for the flexibility that we're not using those classrooms as we mitigate, use our professional service that we hire to mitigate that correctly. We'll get some testing done, and we'll definitely put safety first before we put any students back in those classrooms. But everything is being handled very professionally. But I'm just very impressed with our operations crew. That could have been much worse, but they worked very hard on a Sunday to make sure that was taken care of. So I want to give them the recognition they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other admin or director comments? All right. Next meeting dates, Tuesday, January 25th here at the primary school at 6:30. And then as of now, Tuesday, February 15th at Silver Creek Primary, also here. And then we adjusted C, which is going to be Monday, March 14th at the primary school. That's all I have. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Oh, I just want to say something real quick. I like how we're doing this new process where the administrators are getting a chance to talk. I really enjoyed hearing from you all and for you showing up and giving us that feedback on what's going on in your buildings and such.
With that, do you want to go ahead and make the motion?
Yeah, I so move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Ms. Franklin seconds. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned.